Hello guys and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm here with Kowloon Generic Romance episode number 7 reaction. Alright, the previous episode, a lot of things got revealed, and a lot of things kind of make sense after the previous episode as well. Basically, the main thing is that Genetera is resonating with someone which has made this Kowloon city even after it got demolished, and there's a lot of people generating with that Kowloon city, and that is why they are the only ones who can see it. Now, the behind this theory, there's a lot of questions. For example, who is this person, or who is this person that genitor is resonating with, and and a few other questions, like why are the other people resonating with with Kowloon and are only able to see it? What are the prerequisite conditions for you to be able to see this Kowloon city? Like, all these things. These are still questions that are there, but I kind of gave my own theory about it, where I said that I think that it is Kudo that Janatara is resonating with, because of Kudo's grief about going back to the days of Kulon, where when because he lost Kujirai Reiko. That is why the Kulon city has been regenerated like this, and other people are resonating with the Kulon city because they want to go back to the Kulon, just like or something. They're like something else, like maybe they're looking for themselves, like for example, we have Yaomei, who was looking for her true self, like stuff like that. Maybe that is why they're resonating with Kulon. And the reason why I said that is because there's multiple sections where we see when Kudo's emotions get disturbed, something happens to Kudon City. That also happened in the previous episode at the end, where Reiko was like, "Oh, I might just leave and settle down somewhere else." At which he was very agitated, and suddenly an explosion happened somewhere. So and the earthquakes in the previous episodes. So yeah, all these things are going on. Obviously, these are these are just speculations. I might be completely off the mark. Maybe something else is going on. But yeah, this seems to fit pretty well. But after the previous episode, a lot of things kind of make sense now. So that's good. Let's see what happens today. Let us begin. I'll be putting the subtitles and the timer here. Sync it to whichever is your preference, and let's get started. Okay, here's the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, this is the past again, right? Yeah. Yeah. Not that much, you could say. Yeah, it's gonna get demolished. Hmm. Okay. Oh, we're back to the present. Okay, let's see what happened. All right, so they meet. Wait, the this is the second Gwen, right? The new one. Yeah, this is the new Gwen. Okay. Wait, he realizes this is a different Gwen. Why would he other? Because okay, he knows he's not the bartender Gwen because he said that. Well, well, you're kind of the same as him then. Kudo. He is asking the question that Gwen asked him. The other Gwen. Damn. Yeah, kind of. Yeah. He would be surprised if he realized who it is because he hates Hebinua. He knows. Yeah. Oh my God. So right. That answers another one of my question. He knows what's going on, and that's why he wasn't surprised. Like he knows this is a second Gwen. Like oh. All right. This cements my theory of Kudo being the person that is Janitor is resonating with, because like I said, um, if he's the one who's based, like who's on whom the new Janitor is based off on, whenever her emotions get disarrayed, a part of Janitor are kind of like like malfunctions probably, and the Kowloon kind of collapses. So when Kujira said something like that, his emotions were in a disarray. So a part of Kowloon just went back to its way it was, demolished completely, as we saw. So, and you know what? If that is actually what's going on, it also wouldn't surprise me if Kudo realizes that he is the person Janitor is resonating with, and this Kowloon is fake, and like he probably knows all of that, and he's still staying here because he's stuck in the past. He even if he wants to get away, he cannot get away from here. So you know what? I'll talk about all of this in the discussion sections because this scene, and again, like made me realize that he knows what's happening. I wasn't completely sure if he realized what's going on, but the fact that he realizes this is a second Gwen answers all the questions. He knows what's happening in the background, or has a clue about it. Mm, right. Right. Uh, what's happening? Yeah. What? Too conscious. Oh yeah, that's what. Okay. Right. So Heavenwa Group is the one who did the whole demolition. Wait. Oh, wait a minute. Is this how they met? Yeah. Damn. Oh, Kowloon, right? I guess that's what is implying. Hmm. This is a snake, right? Is that why he was getting a heat stroke? Wow. Damn, he just read him like a book. I guess because he himself is kind of like, mm, mm. What? I'm broke? Right. Damn. Yeah. Right, his tongue is just because of the tattoos. He's thinking he's Yakuza or something. Mm. Someone asked me which one. Absolute self. Damn. Again, that word. What? Face powder. Oh, what is this place? Oh, oh yeah. He okay. He got a heat stroke. Oh, is that his? Is that his mother that he was talking? I don't know. Oh, here we go. That's where he was going. Kind of. Yeah. What? Why is she here? Hmm. Oh, she's here for the okay. I don't think she paid attention to. Ah, yeah, true. Hmm. About Reiko, I guess. Oh, yeah. Right. Straight to the point. So she is a zirconian, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't. That would make sense. Yeah, I don't think that's the. I'll talk about it later again. Oh, okay. So that's. Oh. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Like that's the like that is why this is someone who. Why? Oh yeah, that's true. That is true. Hmm. Yeah, but she still wants to know. Like she still wants to understand it. She doesn't want to be in the dark. Unless others, yep, unless others do it. He's not wrong. Kind of. No. Wait, what? So what are they? Right. Okay. It just got mm. Yeah, okay, so they're not Draconian. Interesting. You were there when she died. Oh, took her own life. Oh my god. Hmm. Damn. Even though could I be an No, no, no. She's doing the same thing that Yao Mei was doing, trying to just get away from. If she likes that room, she can. She should stay there. Oh yeah, that was the name. I forgot. What the hell? It's midnight. Oh, okay. So it'll be 1 year since. Oh, that's why he came here because he thought. Oh my God. Yeah, he kind of. Yeah, you can do that. Hmm. Okay. Oh. Oh no. I have a bad feeling about this because. Oh no, I have a bad feeling. They're leaving Kudon. What's gonna happen? Oh, okay. So if she leaves, will she disappear or something? What? Oh, because the place is demolished. That's why. Yeah, the delivery guy's probably seeing this place as destroyed completely. Oh my. Oh no. Yeah. Oh god. Oh no. This is so awkward. Uh, about that. Wait, he cannot see. Wait. Oh, so unless and until you are a person, flesh and bone person, they all okay. Reiko. Oh my god, I just realized that. So it's not only Kowloon, it's these generic as well. Yeah. Yep. A lot of them are generic. And a lot of them are human beings. Oh, that's why if she goes to Hong Kong, nobody will be able to see her. That's why he stopped her. Oh my god. Yeah. You're like this. Yeah, she's generic. That's why they call him. Yeah. Like who the hell knows what's gonna happen? And that's why Kudo also said that. Like I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because you can see Kowloon. That's why. Oh my god. Okay, interesting. So I don't know what I was expecting. Like I guess it makes sense because up until now I thought they are Zirconians. You know. So I was like, oh, these guys are these people are clones and stuff. You know, like Reiko is a clone and all that. But that's like literally that was um didn't like in today's episode we got to know that's not the case when Hebinuma said that, oh no, you're not Zirconians, you guys. I think, yeah, he called her generic, right? Like you that's the new name that I guess we're going to be using for her and people like her. Let me check. You were developed later, a generic if you will. So right, so I guess we'll just be going to be calling people like this generic who are here but who are kind of like Kowloon, like they don't exist. Okay, so that's interesting. So a lot of things. All right, so here's the thing. This Kowloon city that was made by Genetera, it also brought out a lot of people who are generic that doesn't exist in reality, but a lot of people can see them, and a lot of people cannot. They're kind of like same like the Kowloon city, and Reiko is one of them. If you remember, the Gwen that we saw here is a bartender. He was also generic. He was created along with this Kowloon. That is why when the real Gwen came in, that person disappeared. Now that there was a kind of a question that I was always having, and it was kind of bothering me, and I didn't have a proper answer to it. I actually have an answer to it now after all these episodes. My question was that I thought that like the Gwen that came in was like a clone or like a zirconian, or I don't know what I thought that Gwen was. And so I thought that, wait a minute, so if all it needs is someone to come here to get to override someone else, right? Then can not like a second person come in over here, like a third person come in here, and this Gwen be deleted? And that's what I was thinking. I had a confusion, but now it all makes sense. No, that won't happen because there's only one human being named Gwen, only one human being named Reiko. So when Gwen came in here, the generic Gwen got overwritten because he actually doesn't exist. Like, just think about it like this. An illusion of a person has been created. You can only see the illusion up until a certain point. Like, no, up until only when that person in reality doesn't exist. When that person in reality comes to the same place, then the illusion will disappear because the real person will take place, will override that illusion because the real person exists now. That is why Gwen, the real Gwen, came here and overrode the generic Gwen. That makes sense. Reiko is a special exception. This Reiko will never disappear unless and until, I don't know, she leaves this place, I guess. The reason behind it is because the real Kujirai Reiko is dead. Since the real Kujirai Reiko is dead, the real Kujirai Reiko will not be able to come here. So this Reiko, I guess you could say, she will never disappear if she stays here. There's no chance of her disappearing, you know. Another thing I realize now, that old man, when whom Miyuki brought in here to do the kind of a little bit of an experiment, I also was very confused because I thought that old man was a Zirconian or something. No, that old person was the real old man who lived somewhere outside Kowloon because Kowloon was demolished. He lived somewhere else. You know, I guess Miyuki probably figured out somehow that he can see this Kowloon. That's why he brought him here. And the generic old man who also stayed here. Oh no, never mind. No, he could. I don't think he could say Kowloon. No, no, no. That wasn't established. He probably cannot see this Kowloon as well. Still, Miyuki brought him here into the ruins, and the generic old man who was sitting in front of Miyuki disappeared because he was a generic. The original one came here, so the generic one disappeared. You know, and I guess now because like since that happened with Gwen, when Gwen leaves Kowloon now, I guess there was a thing that I was thinking. I was thinking, will the generic Gwen return back here? Because the original Gwen has left. And when he comes back again, the generic Gwen will leave again or get overwritten. No, the generic Gwen doesn't come back. So once you've overwritten the file, if you take that file and move it somewhere else, the place that is empty remains empty. No generic Gwen will take its place because you've already overwritten it. Like something like that, I guess. You know what? I'm like 80% sure now that Kudo is the person that Janitor is resonating with. You know why? Because Kudo doesn't have a copy, a generic. You know why he doesn't have a generic? If he's the one who Janitor is basing all of this on, that would mean Kudo would, like the generic people that are here, will only be able, like only those people will be here who Kudo knows. So Kudo knew Gwen, Kudo knew Reiko, Kudo, did Kudo know Hebinuma? I don't remember. I think he did, kind of. No, he didn't. No, never mind. Okay, Hebinuma's situation is a different situation. I'll talk about that later. I also had a few misunderstandings with Hebinuma, but today's episode revealed everything. So no, Kudo didn't know Hebinuma personally, obviously. So all the people that Kudo knew, a generic version of them is here in this world, in this Kowloon. You know, another proof behind that? Yame isn't here. Kudo never knew Yame. Yame was a person who came from outside. So there's no generic version of Yame here because Kudo has no idea who Yame is. Yame is a new person who came in. That is also the reason why Kudo didn't generate like a generic Kudo, because Kudo is the person who's being based, like who's doing all of this. Like he himself, like Janitor is like resonating with him. So you will think, like, if you're the real person here, you would, all the generic people that are here, it's based on Kudo's memories. Obviously Kudo's not going to like generate a generic version of himself because he himself is present here. That is why he's the only one who doesn't have a generic version here. Everything fits perfectly if you think that Kudo is the person Janitor is resonating with. You know what? I feel like let's wait for a few more episodes. Hopefully another situation like this presents itself where we get to meet a character who Kudo doesn't know, and if a generic version of that character doesn't exist in this generic Kowloon, that would prove everything. That would prove that this is Kudo, like everything is based on Kudo's memories. And Kudo is the person that Janitor is resonating with. Wow, today's episode gave us, again, like, it made me realize that this is probably what's happening. Because I never realized that, like, because, I was thinking that Kujira was a Zirconian. Just like she said. And then when Miyuki was like, oh no, you're not a Zirconian, you're a generic. I was like, wait, what? Still it didn't clock until the final scene, where the pizza delivery guy came in and he was like, oh, is there someone else over here? And I'm like, oh, okay. So the person, like Kujira Reiko, is also like similarly treated as this new Kowloon city, because this new Kowloon city doesn't exist. A lot of people living here also doesn't exist. They're just here because of Kudo's memories. Now, just think about this. All these people that are living here, a lot of them are like were based on Kudo's memories. A lot of them are just real life human beings who are kind of like Yame, kind of like Gwen. They are resonating with this Kowloon. That's why they can see this Kowloon and they're living here. And they probably don't even realize that they're living like in a simulation or whatever. But there's a lot of like a lot of the people here are just generic. all these generic people are probably staying somewhere else, because this Kowloon got demolished. They're probably living somewhere else outside city, maybe in Hong Kong or something. And if you bring each and every one of these people back to Kowloon, all these generic people living here will just vanish. That's probably going to happen. If someday they come in, that's what's going to happen. But like I said, I guess to be a generic, you need to have made a proper impression in Kudo's mind. Again, these are all speculations, these are all theories. It has not been obviously explicitly said that Kudo is the one who's resonating with generic Genetera, but at this point, come on, it's pretty damn obvious. Like all the clues are here, all the puzzle pieces are here, and it's fitting perfectly. If Kudo is the one whose Genetera is resonating with, everything makes so much sense, you know. So yeah, another thing that I realized in today's episode is that Kudo realizes this is going on. I was under the impression Kudo also doesn't understand like this is happening. Kudo knows. That's why when he when he was talking to Gwen, he was like, oh, like he was talking as if he realizes this is a real Gwen. It's not that bartender Gwen. He knows that. He knows that bartender Gwen is a generic version of this Gwen. So he knew when the real Gwen will come back here, that bartender Gwen will just disappear. He knew that. A lot of things he understands. He probably also understands that this generic Kowloon is something that, now there's one question, like I said, if Kudo is really the person who's been resonating with Genetera, I do wonder if he realizes that himself, and if he realizes that he's the reason why all these people are here, and yeah, he must realize that. If he really is the one who's resonating with Kowloon, he must realize that as well. And that's why he's like, I will never be able to live with this Kowloon, because he's the main, I guess you could say, foundation of Kowloon. If he leaves here, I don't know what's going to happen to Genetera. Genetera is like this version of Kowloon. Will it just disappear? Like what happened? Like Reiko might also disappear as well at the same time. Wow, that is crazy. I don't know what to think about this, because like since Reiko is actually, we realize Reiko is actually a, I guess you could say, like a generic, like a stimulation kind of like a thing. How the hell will like, I don't know. I was expecting in the end Kudo and Reiko to kind of like Reiko, Kudo to accept this version of Reiko and saw something like that. And well, even if that happens, how the hell are they even going to live a normal life together? Like you cannot live with oh my god, I don't know, man. This is crazy. Like I do think like they're probably like this makes me think maybe in the future Hebnuma will be able to make something which, like he says, like he's trying to take the revenge on his father with the whole making his son, and the whole project thing. And maybe he'll be able to, in the future, he'll be able to make something like that which will help Reiko to get an actual body or something, and she'll be able to live properly like an actual human being. I do wonder. I do hope that's what happens in the future, because like Hebinuma's project, it does seem like it'll be something that might be able to help Reiko in the future to actually have like a proper body, and like yeah. And that's why they're just like this zirconian project that they're doing, it still hasn't been perfected or anything. It hasn't been done properly. He is trying to and that's why he was so happy seeing Reiko, because he realized that Reiko is something that he's trying to achieve. He hasn't been able to achieve that, but he's trying to achieve that. So that's why, like they mentioned here, these generic are kind of like a good source of like study for to be used in the Zirconian project, because this is like these generic are a thing that the Zirconian project are kind of trying to do, and this will give them a lot of ideas. So I do hope in the future that like Hebinuma's company is able to, I don't know, make some kind of a clone or like Zirconian or something, and Reiko is able to like kind of live, like kind of go into it or something. I don't know what she can do, like merge with it or something, and then live like a proper human being, like go outside, people will be able to see her and all that stuff. Otherwise, can you imagine just being stuck here like a ghost, like an earthbound ghost, like where you cannot leave a certain place and just disappear if that happens? Oh my god, that is crazy. And when Kudo said that, oh, don't leave, that was also the reason why. Like Obviously he doesn't want Reiko to leave, but at the same time he knows that she'll probably somehow realize that she doesn't exist here, or something bad might happen if she leaves this Kowloon. Right. Yeah. Now another thing I'm going to talk about Hebinuma. Hebinuma also had I had a big misunderstanding about Hebinuma's situation. I thought this Hebinuma was a Zirconian. I don't know why, but because the multiple times they've kind of mentioned here, kind of in a way that he was someone who was adopted by like the the Hebinuma's father, his that guy, um, and something like that they mentioned, so I don't know why I just thought he was like a zirconian or something, and there was a section where I was also thinking, is he a generic? But then I was like, how the hell is he generic? It wouldn't make sense. He leaves school on, he talks to other people outside. It would never make sense. So he's a real life human being, but he is neither Hebunuma nor a generic. He's someone else. He's just someone that got adopted, and from the little bits and pieces we can understand, I'm assuming he was probably like, as in today's episode they said, they kind of mentioned Hebinuma like lived here in the original Kowloon. He was brought up here. He talks about, like, when he like smells face powder, he talks about his mother. He was asking about a dancer or something like that. I'm assuming his mother probably was like a dancer, and in that host, I don't know, I think that was a host club, right? I'm not exactly sure, or hostess club, sorry. I'm not exactly sure what that was, or was that a cabaret? I'm not sure exactly what that place was. It was something like that. I'm assuming her mother used to, as a profession, she used to be there, and that's why he was talking about like face powder and everything. And from these little clues, that's what I can piece together. So he was someone who lived here in this Kowloon, and I don't know what happened. Maybe his mother passed away or something. I'm not sure what exactly happened, but he got adopted after the Hebinuma. He lost his own son, and now he's making this Hebinuma Miyuki to make this do this whole Zirconian project, so that in the future, like, his father can get back his original son, but Miyuki is planning revenge by like making a son who would not have their memories, and that's why he was so happy with seeing Reiko, and he realized that Kudo is literally living the life that he wants his father to live, like, and he's like, I'm going to take revenge like that. That's why he's like, I cannot fathom how can someone live like this, because in his head he's like, yeah, this is so bad, like living with a person who has no memories but who looks exactly like that person. That's literally what he's trying to do to his father, to get revenge. But Kudo's doing that, like living that life. He's like, I cannot fathom how he can live like this. So yeah, that's the thing about Hebinuma. I was under a big misconception, I guess. So yeah, he's neither a Zirconian nor a generic. He's a real human being, but he's not Hebinuma. He was adopted, and he has like this background. His mother, like, we don't really know much about her, but from the little bits and pieces of information, we realize that her mother, like, his mother was probably someone who, like they're probably very poor, and her mother used to dance, and in the cabaret club, I think, like, that's why. And again, we don't have much information, but I guess he got adopted somehow. We'll have to wait and see to get more information about him. So yeah, that's the whole thing with Hebinuma, Miyuki. There's another thing I wanted to talk about. I'm forgetting what I was wanted to talk about, but there's another important thing I wanted to mention. Oh my god, I'm forgetting. But that is another thing I kind of realized after today's episode. I'm forgetting. What the hell? What was I going to talk about? There are too many things that I wanted to talk about, and I'm just forgetting now at this point. Um. Oh, Kowloon City. Yeah, I thought the second construction of Kowloon City that the people that made, like illegally, that whole thing. I thought that thing was basically what people are misunderstanding. I thought this Kowloon City is basically that, something like that. But no. So I think this is how it went. Kowloon City. Okay, let me just talk about it chronologically. Kudo comes here in Kowloon, meets Reiko, starts liking Reiko. Kowloon is going to get destroyed. Kudo wanted to propose. Before that, something happened. We don't know what happened yet. It's blank. Kujiya Reiko took her life. Kudo broke down completely. All the people, the Asian people that are living here, probably left. And I guess then they like started to make a second Kowloon, And this second Kowloon was also demolished, I think, because that's what they were talking about, like the government, because they were doing this illegally and everything. The second Kowloon was also demolished, I think. Then somehow Kudo resonated, and at this point, I think everyone left Kowloon. Kudo resonated with Genetera. Generic Kowloon got created. Generic people got created here, along with Kujirai Reiko. You know, and only the people that Kudo kind of knew were created here. That's why, characters like Zhao Mei is here. That's her name, right? Zhao He, sorry. Zhao He here. Wait, so is this Zhao He a generic Zhao He? Maybe. That's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. Maybe the original Zhao He is living somewhere else. Or maybe this is a flesh and blood Zhao Mei. I have no idea. We'll get to that later, I think. But only people Kudo know, kind of personally knew, like, got created here. Like Zhao He probably, Kujirai Reiko, like Gwen, all these people. When the original human being came to this place, they got overwritten. So when Gwen came in, Gwen got overwritten. Kujirai Reiko, there's no way for Kujirai Reiko to come back because obviously Kujirai is dead. So this Kujirai is just here. Yame came from the outside. Since Kudo has no idea about who Yame was, he couldn't, like, there's no generic version of Yame over here. So that's that. Yeah, and that is also the reason why whenever his emotions gets into disarray, maybe like some earthquakes happen, because he's the one who's resonating with Genetera. And like some weird stuff happens. Today we saw like a section got demolished completely. It just went back to the way it was probably. Because his emotions got into disarray. Stuff like that. That is what I think. That is how I see this whole thing. Now there might be a few tweakings that we need to do here and there, but I guess we'll get to know that later on as we get more clues. Because as you can see, each and every episode is giving us some clues which are making us able to piece the puzzle together. Today's episode also gave a huge hint. Like I said, a lot of things make sense now. Previous episode gave a lot of hints which made me understand a lot of things that is going on. Today's episode as well. That small little section at the end where we got to see that the pizza guy couldn't see Kujirai Reiko, everything fit into place there. It's based on Kudo's memory, that's why. And that's why there's no second Kudo. That's why there's no Yame, because Yame, he never knew Yame. Yame is someone who comes from the outside. Kujirai Reiko cannot get overwritten because Kujirai Reiko is dead. The generic version of Kujirai Reiko is the only one who's here. Miyuki, obviously, he never knew Miyuki, so Miyuki doesn't have a generic version over here. He knew Gwen. That's why Gwen was here, and when the Gwen came in, he got overwritten. All these things make so much sense. Right. Again, like I said, this is just a theory, but at this point, I'm 80% sure this is exactly how it's going. So let's wait and see. Yeah. So there you go. Another fantastic episode. I love the way this show is doing this. Every single episode, it's just giving us small hints to understand what the hell is happening in this world. Wow, I don't know, man. This is definitely one of my favorite shows. Like, good God, they did such a great job. Now, obviously, we have another question here now, which is why Reiko died. Like, not why, but they tell that she took her life. But I guess we'll have to see what happened exactly. Like Kudo said he was going to propose. I'm guessing something bad, because that's why Kudo said that I killed her or something like that, if you remember. So, you know what? Let's see. Let's wait and see. Okay. And there you go. That was today's episode. Like I said, another fantastic episode. Absolutely amazing. This show is so good. Okay, there you go. So there you go. That was it. That was my reaction. My overall impressions. Now, let me talk about this episode scene by scene. I think I discussed most of the stuff. There's not much to discuss, but let me see if I missed something. First section was Kudo talking to the original Gwen before Kowloon got demolished about meeting with Reiko and proposing to her. And, Gwen was like, oh, do you even know Reiko? And he's like, he's kind of hesitating there. And then we just suddenly got back to the real world. And we see like Kudo goes to the explosion place and see that place has got demolished. And this is why Gwen, the original Gwen, was also here. And he's like, oh, Gwen, you're here finally. And yeah, and this part made me realize that he knows this is a real Gwen and he knows the other Gwen was fake. So a lot of things started making sense to me now. I was like, okay, so Kudo knows this is going on. I was under the impression Kudo had no idea about this whole genetera, this resonance thing, and all that. He knows, or he has a brief idea and like a brief understanding about it. Yeah. Okay. And there you go. And he talks about like getting dumped and all that, like, and then he also says like, oh, do you know that other person? Well, just like you think you do, which is the same thing that the original Gwen asked him. Right. Anyways, Kudo also says like, oh no, I'm not leaving here, like, and I cannot leave here. And because I think Kudo knows that he's the one that he's generating with genetera, so that's why he's like, I cannot leave here. But obviously Gwen has no idea, so he was like, oh, why can you not leave here? Is it because of Kujira Reiko? But no, not because of that. Like, yeah, because of that, obviously, but at the same time, like a lot of other things. And he's like, I'll always be here. Okay. And then we have get to see the Miyuki section where Miyuki is talking to that guy. I forgot his name, and the new character that was introduced previous episode. And he says like he wants to come to the doctor's clinic and see if a second version of him existed, like the generic version of him exists here, because he met the original doctor back there outside Kowloon. So he's like, I want to check whether the generic version is here. Okay, so now I would say that if Kudo knows about this doctor, the doctor will probably be here, the generic version of the doctor. Because again, like according to my theory, only the characters that Kudo knows will be here as a generic version. Okay. Anyways, so then we get to know the past about when Miyuki and Gwen got to meet. They met in this bar, and Gwen was trying to act like, like as if, like he knows everything, he has everything figured out and everything. And Miyuki kind of realized was, oh, this part where Miyuki says like something precious to me got destroyed. It was Kowloon, I'm pretty sure, because since he was born in Kowloon, like, yeah, that's probably why he said that, because Kowloon got demolished. Okay, so then when outside, Miyuki literally says that, oh, I know you're just kind of using like a bravado, like that, yeah, like stuff like that. What's that part? Yeah, he's like, you are this is how he negative. Okay. Unlucky jack of trades who lives hand to mouth, was it? You don't believe it like that at all. You're doing this because other people judge you, or try to like kind of, yeah, belittle you. That's why you act in this humble manner, so that you don't like rub them the wrong way. This is like your self-defense mechanism. And Miyuki's and Gwen is like, God damn, you understood it, like, yeah. And then he also says like, this place that we're going to is like just a random weird place. I don't have money, that's why I just bring you there. It's not a good place. And then they, like they kiss and everything, and all that happens. And this is also where after that, Miyuki talks about his having both female and male genitalia, and he says like, oh, you don't ask you didn't ask that anything about that. And Gwen was like, oh, yeah, obviously if you look like, if you were like a female, I probably wouldn't have called you out, but after talking to you and everything, I like you even if you have I think that's what he says, right? Here we go. You really want to know my gender, right? Yeah, I wouldn't have called you if you're a female, but now I can say I'd be in love with you even if you presented as a woman, right? Okay, so there you go. That's that. After that, you can see Miyuki wakes up. He was in the original world. He collapsed, and he's there in that place. And okay, he says, "Do you know of a dancer named Suhan?" Okay, and here's my question: is these ladies here, are they generics, or are they real person who came here and resonated with Kowloon, and that's why they're staying here? That's my question, and we'll have to wait and see. Anyways, he says like, do you know someone named Shihan? And Shihan, I guess that was, I'm assuming that's his mother's name or something. I don't know, because he talks about face powder and being nostalgic because that's smell reminds her of her mother. Okay. Anyways, then the whole place gets shut. Like the connection goes out. Kujirai comes in, and Miyuki then says like, "Oh, I want to have a conversation with him." So no, sorry, Kujirai says, "I want to have a conversation with you." So obviously Kujirai says like, "Am I a Zirconian?" And that's also what I thought. And then this is where Miyuki says everything just completely changes what Miyuki says, and things makes a lot more sense. She's not a Zirconian, but the Zirconian project, they are kind of trying to do this, and characters like Reiko and other generics are kind of helping Miyuki to figure out how to properly do it. They're like a reference point for him. That's why he was so happy seeing Reiko. You know. Anyways, so yeah, there you go. After that, Reiko was like, "Oh, then like like what am I?" And in the end, he kind of says that you were created later. You're not a Zirconian. You're not a human being. Maybe you're someone like, let's say, someone generic or something like that. He says. And this is also why Reiko says that she wants to become her absolute self. Miyuki also realized here that exactly the life that Kudo's living is the life that he wants his father to live, and he wants to take revenge like that, because Reiko doesn't have memories, but he looks like Reiko completely. But then he's like, I cannot fathom how can someone live like that. Anyways, this is also where he says that unless and until Kudo recognizes you as someone, you will never be able to find self-worth, because even if you have self-worth in yourself, confidence in yourself, the person you're with, the person you care about, if they don't acknowledge you, then yeah. So anyways, all that stuff. Then we can see that the other guy, I forgot, like I said, I forgot his name, the white haired guy. He was trying to find Reiko's like sheet, like record, and the doctor was like reveals here that he was there when Reiko died. It was a case of taking their own life. I'm not saying the other word because the yeah, the YouTube algorithm is just going to not algorithm, sorry, the automatic flagging system is just going to flag the video otherwise. Right. So yeah, that's what happened. Now that was that. After that, we get to see Reiko saying that she wants to leave her room, because she wants to, make a new identity in it. And I was like, come on, you're doing literally the same thing that Yamei was doing, right? Because she was trying to run away from her past. So I was saying like, if you like that room, just stay there. Just because it was the other Reiko's room, you don't have to just leave that place. But in the end, as you can see, when she was like going to getting ready to sleep, Kudo comes in and he's like, at 12 a.m. Like at midnight, he comes in and he's like, oh, it's like her anniversary. Now at this point, I feel like everyone knows what's going on. Like Kudo also, like Kujirai knows that she's a different version of the same Kujirai Reiko, so it's very easier to kind of communicate with each other. So, saying that, Kujirai realized that he was afraid that if she leaves, no, if she not leaves, sorry, he was afraid that she's just going to disappear because it was the anniversary of her death, so something like that. That's why he came here at midnight. And Reiko also was, in the end, Reiko was like, you know what, I'm not going to leave this place, because I'll always be here when he needs me to be. Because can you imagine if she left that room, Kudo would probably. I could only imagine that like if on that day she decided to leave and she actually left, Kudo would come here and not see her, probably misunderstand and think that Reiko has disappeared. He would probably fall into such a panic. I feel like Kowloon would get destroyed because, like I said, as far as I can understand, or as far as my theory goes, if Kudo's the one Janitor is resonating with, his emotional distress is going to destroy Kowloon completely. If that happened, I feel like. So again, like after that, Kujirai was like, okay, I'll stay there, and Yamei was like, what the hell? Why you said you're going to leave? Yamei really wants her to leave her other self and just like embark on a new life or something. Oh my god. But anyways, Reiko then says it's because of the death anniversary and all that, yeah. Okay. So then Gwen was like, eating the Nutri-bars or whatever, and like, because Miyuki told him not to eat the food from this, because like eating, like, what are you eating then? Like, these are food made here in this generic Kowloon. What are you eating? Air? Like, what is so nobody knows what that is, what that substance is. So it's like, better be careful and not eat it. So he's like eating Nutribars that he brought outside, and he asks for pizza. That is why, like, because he wanted from the outside. So when, like, good thing he asked for delivery pizza, because that's why he caught Reiko and Yame trying to leave Kowloon, because they wanted to go shopping outside for their room. And Gwen is like, don't go. And this is where everything makes sense. I thought he was saying don't go because, like, Kujira would somehow realize maybe that, like, this place doesn't exist. No, he was saying her not to go because nobody would be able to see her. That's why. So, the pizza guy comes in, and then the pizza guy, and like, the pizza was like, oh, I thought it was a prank. Like, who the hell lives here? And Yama's like, what the hell? Like, yeah, we live here. And he's like, oh yeah, it's this abandoned place, like, like, wasn't it illegal to stay here? Obviously Yame is confused and everything. And then when Kujire was talking to the pizza boy wasn't saying anything. So they're like, oh, that's rude. But then he's like, oh, is there someone here? And there you go. Here is where we realize he cannot see Kujire, and he leaves. This is where everything click in place. And Yame is also confused. She's like, what the hell is going on here? So yeah, this is where it gets revealed. Not only this Kowloon is generic, Kujira Reiko is also generic. And like I said, I gave my whole theory about who are generic, why, and about how Kudo is resonating probably with gender. That's why only people who Kudo knows are the generic versions here. I might be wrong about that. I don't know, but I firmly believe that is what's going on here. Because everything points towards that direction. So yeah, great reveal. A lot of questions again make sense now. A lot of the mysteries are getting solved. A lot of the fog are getting, kind of, yeah, it's little by little clearing away, making it easier to understand what is going on. So yeah, that is it. That was today's episode. That was episode number 7 of Kowloon Generic Romance. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to press the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, or you haven't subscribed. Comment down below anything you want to say, anything you want to let me know. I'll check them out. That is it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week with another episode of Kowloon Generic Romance. Until then, goodbye and have a nice day.